Do you ever feel like God isn't listening to you? Sometimes we can feel like our prayers are unanswered, that our voices aren't being heard. We might feel insignificant, wondering if God even cares about our problems. But today's story reminds us that God sees us and He cares. It's the story of Samuel, one of the greatest leaders of Israel, whose journey began with a desperate prayer and a promise to a God who loves to hear our voices. Let's begin in the days when Israel was ruled by judges. The word of the Lord was rare, precious, and hard to come by. In those times, there was a man from Ramoth, a town in the hill country of Ephraim. His name was Elkanah, and he was blessed with 2 wives. He loved them both dearly. The first wife was Peninnah, who bore him children, and the second was Hannah, who wasn't able to have children. And so, year after year, when Elkanah went up with his family to worship and sacrifice before the Lord of hosts in Shiloh, Hannah's heart would break a little more, for it was there that she saw other mothers with their children, laughing, playing, and worshipping the Lord. And she couldn't help but feel a deep ache in her heart. Now, every year when Elkanah went to Shiloh, he would give Hannah a double portion of everything, because he loved her so much and wanted her to feel cherished. But no matter what Hannah felt his love through these gifts, she still longed for a child, a piece of her own to love and care for. And Peninnah, who already had children, would taunt her, making Hannah's pain even harder to bear. Then one day, after they had eaten, Hannah got up, feeling bitter and upset inside. So she went to the house of prayer, and there she prayed to the Lord, weeping greatly. She poured out her heart to God, saying, "O Lord of hosts, if you will look on the affliction of your servant and remember me, and give to your servant a son, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall touch his head." As she prayed, her lips moved, but no sound came forth. And so the priest, Eli, who was an old man with failing eyesight, thought that she was drunk. But Hannah explained to him that she was pouring out her heart before the Lord. And when Eli realized that she wasn't drunk, he blessed her and said, "Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant your petition." And soon after, Hannah found out that she was going to have a baby. She was overjoyed and thanked God for answering her prayer. When her son was born, she named him Samuel, which means asked of the Lord, because that's exactly what she had done. She had asked the Lord for a son, and he had given him to her. When Samuel was weaned, Hannah took him to Shiloh with offerings to give to the Lord. She brought him to Eli and said, "For this child I have prayed, and the Lord has granted my petition. Therefore I have lent him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he is lent to the Lord." And so Samuel remained in Shiloh to minister before the Lord under the direction of Eli, the priest. And Hannah, filled with gratitude, lifted her voice in a prayer of thanksgiving, praising God as the one who raises up the lowly and brings down the proud. As Samuel grew, he became both greater in stature and in favor with the Lord and with people. Sadly, though Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were not like Samuel, they were supposed to be priests, but instead of serving God faithfully, they acted very corruptly. They forced people to give them parts of the sacrifices, and they despised the offerings made to the Lord. They also acted very dishonestly, lying with women at the entrance of the tent of meeting. One day, a man of God came to Eli and told him that, because he honored his sons above the Lord and did not restrain them, his house would be cut off. God would raise up a faithful priest and a faithful king. Eli didn't like the man's message, and so he cursed him and said, "Go home. If you are a man of God, go and curse yourself." But the man of God left, and soon after, when the Israelites were defeated by the Philistines, Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died, and Eli, the old priest, also died. Meanwhile, Samuel grew in wisdom and age, and one night when he lay near the ark of God in the temple, he heard the Lord calling him by his name. Thinking it was Eli, he ran to him, but Eli sent him back. This happened 3 times, and only on the 3rd time did Eli realize that it was the Lord calling Samuel. So he told Samuel to answer and said, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." And that's exactly what Samuel did. That's what Samuel did. The Lord came again and stood calling, "Samuel, Samuel," and Samuel answered, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." And God revealed to him how he would judge Eli's house, and that Samuel would become a prophet of the Lord. The next day, Samuel told Eli everything, and from then on, all Israel knew that Samuel was a prophet of the Lord, for none of his words fell to the ground. And while Samuel was living between Ramah and Shiloh, it came to pass in the days of his youth that Israel went to battle against the Philistines, and they brought the ark of the covenant from Shiloh, saying, "Let the God of Israel go before us." Now the ark of God came into the camp, and everything that happened in the battle was going contrary to Israel, and there was a panic. So Hophni and Phinehas, the sons of Eli, said to each other, Phinehas said to Hophni, "Let not the ark of God be taken any more to battle, lest it happen that some of the multitude sin against it." But he did not listen to him. Then the Philistines attacked. So they struck down Hophni and Phinehas, and the 2 sons of Eli died in one day, and the ark of God was taken. Moreover, the women who were in childbearing age were taken captive. They also took the ark of God and brought it to a high place. They sacrificed to their idols, and the next day, when they made a joyful noise, they returned to their own country. Now when Eli was very old, and his eyes were set with age, so that he could not see, the messenger came and told him that the ark of God had been taken. And when the messenger had told Eli everything that the Philistines had done, it came to pass in the messenger's mouth, as he was telling it, that Eli fell backward on the earth and broke his neck. And he judged Israel 40 years, he and his sons. Then the daughter-in-law of Eli, the wife of Phinehas, his son, conceived and gave birth. At the same time she heard the news of her father-in-law and her husband being killed. She said, "Ichabod to me, for the glory has departed from Israel." Therefore she named the child Ichabod. And the woman was an Amalekite, and she said, "Thus says the Lord, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. I have made you a seal of the words of my mouth, and a light of my truth." And the Lord raised Samuel. And as soon as the people of Israel cried out to the Lord raised for them deliverer, and behold, Samuel was one. And all Israel gathered themselves together, and cried out to the Lord in Mizpah. And Samuel, he got for himself an altar there, and served the Lord. Then the Philistines came and attacked against Israel. When they had made a great assault, so that it seemed as if they were conquerors, Samuel offered a great sacrifice. Then the Philistines approached, and it came to pass, while the Philistines were yet far off, that Samuel was hearing the sound of their coming. Then Samuel said to himself, "How long will the Philistines be a terror to you? For to this end have the gods of Israel sent them." And when he said these words, the Lord thundered with a great sound on that day, so that the voice of the thunder was as the voice of the Lord. And when the Philistines heard it, they were dismayed, and their defeat was seen by Israel. So they struck the Philistines that day, and chased them, until they had no more strength. And Samuel took a stone, and set it up between Mizpah and Shen. And he named it Ebenezer, saying, "Thus far the Lord has helped us." Then the Philistines were subdued, and they did not come together again for 40 years, neither did the children of Israel go out all that time, except Israel went out with the Philistines to the feast of unleavened bread, to see the faces of the Philistines. And the rest of Samuel's life, he judged Israel. He traveled throughout Bethel, Gilgal, and Mizpah, but he returned to Ramah, for there was his home, and there he built an altar to the Lord. When Samuel was old, he appointed his sons as judges. The name of the first was Joel, and the name of the second, Obiah. They sat as judges in Mizpah. It came to pass, however, that they were corrupt, taking bribes, and perverting justice. So the elders of Israel came to Samuel at Ramah, and they said to him, "Your sons are corrupt. You must not accept them any more, for they have taken bribes and pervert justice." Then Samuel heard the voice of the people as they cried out to him, and Samuel knew that it was the Lord who had sent them to him. So he said to them, "You have judged among your people. Now I will make a king over you according to the request of the people of Israel, but I will set him far from you." And when the people heard this, they said, "Make a king for us like the Egyptians, like the Assyrians, like the nations which are round about us." Thus the Lord spoke to Samuel, "It is you who have seen what Israel has done, for they have forsaken me, and served Baal, and to them I will bring all the harm that I have foreordained." Next week we'll continue this series with the call of David and the reign of Saul. Make sure to join us. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share. And as always, thanks for watching.